December is almost over, and that means 2018 is almost over. Time to sit down and chat again. So grab your whip. What do you have on your needles today? I am working on a shawl design that I need to get finished because I need to get this out to test knitters. The pattern is pretty much written, so I know what I need to do, but I'm not I'm not gonna ask people to test knit something where they can't see the finished project, or the finished product, I mean. So gotta keep my needles busy today, and tomorrow I can't finish it in one day. So I'm not gonna go into too much detail on what I did in December. I participated in Vlogmas, and you can find those on my channel here on YouTube, 4 parts of Vlogmas. So if you're interested in what December looked like in my house, go check those out if you haven't done so already. December always seems to be a very intense month. There's so much that needs to be done and so much that I want to do that no matter how little I decide to do, it always feels like a lot. And you're seeing a lot of people and thinking of a lot of other people and what they want and need. Yeah, so always at this time of the year, I'm just really happy that January is around the corner. It's not only the new year, fresh start kind of outlook, but just that it's a normal month without anything extra, just the normal things. That what seems to appeal to me always at the end of December. Are you like that too? I don't know. And I usually love Christmas, but I still feel this way. So I don't know. I tried to do very little this year, tried not to stress about Christmassy things, and I still feel a bit overwhelmed by everything. Yes, and the new year, new start on life, on everything, the fresh page that we're turning, figuratively and concretely, if you have a paper journal. At least for me, it's the start of a new journal. So empty pages waiting to be filled with things. The thing that has been going around in the recent years with people choosing their word for the year, I kind of really like that idea. Like making not a New Year's decision, but like giving an intention for the next year. Some principle that will guide, or that the aim is that that principle will guide your decisions throughout that year. But I never seem to be able to find just that one word. Like, I want to feel more grounded. I want to feel less hectic, and I want to be more in contact with nature, sort of more in tune with nature. But I have a small son. Well, not small, but a young son. He's 9, turning 10 this spring, and I have a business, so my life by default can be to sell. And it's not that I want it to be still, I want to feel less hectic, even though my life is hectic at times. So yeah, I don't know what the word for that would be. I'm still thinking on that. Maybe it could be grounded. Yeah. Have you chosen your word? I always find these really fascinating and inspiring when I read people's words and their thoughts on what the new year will be like. I also just recently read an article in the Finnish Taito magazine. It's only in Finnish. Well, it does have a few Swedish pages, but if you don't speak Finnish or Swedish, sorry. But yes, so the article was about making things with your hands, like what it means to people. And one of the things it said is that in Finnish, at least, we have a lot of idioms that are to do with experiencing things with your hands, or idioms with hands in them, verbs derived from hands and how they are used. So I found it fascinating how it was pretty integral to what we speak every day. The experience of doing something with your hands and understanding something by touching them. And I think in English you do have that as well. You say that you grasp something when you understand something, for that kind of things. And also how fundamental the moment is when a baby realizes that it has hands and it can grab things, how that changes everything for the baby. And how the hand-eye coordination and its development is essential to humans, and therefore humans are inclined to enjoy doing things with their hands, making things with their hands, because it was essential to their survival, and that's why we still derive pleasure from it. It also talked about how making things in the modern world is excellent for mental health. It means you can see that you're making something. It's a concrete way of showing that you are capable of making something, and usually something that's either useful or beautiful or both. And that led me to, the article was really interesting, but it also led me to think about my making, because I don't enjoy all kinds of making, and I don't think I'm good at most of them. But what I do is I knit. Surprise, surprise. And knitting is definitely, out of all the crafts that I do, it's the most relaxing. It's like I need it to be alright. And knitting is both a process and what's the other word? Process and the end product for me. So like I always say, I want to enjoy every stitch that I make. So I find enjoyment from the making. But I also want the finished item to be useful. Either something that's, well, yeah, useful. I don't knit just for decoration. But yeah, so a lot of things have to come together for me to pick up my needles and start a project. I need to know that I need to estimate that I will enjoy the process. I will need to find the finished product beautiful, and also I need to have a use for it, either in my own wardrobe or home, or know that the recipient is going to find it useful. So all of those need to combine for the knitting to be enjoyable, I guess. Then I do a lot of, well, not a lot, but the thing I do the most after knitting is stitching, cross stitching. And that is also something that I find really relaxing. It's, yeah, but that is definitely, that's the process. I find stitching is so slow that if I would be just focused on the product, I wouldn't stitch. So I need to enjoy. It's the process that matters the most. I do, of course, only stitch things that I find beautiful and that I can see myself displaying in my home or giving away as gifts, though I don't really tend to do that just because it's so much work, and what if the recipient doesn't want it? So yeah, but it's the process. And then there's sewing, which for me is definitely the product. I find I don't really enjoy the process of sewing. I do it to get something I want to wear. I do find enjoyment when I have the finished object and I realize that I was able to make it, that I made this from a large rectangular piece of cloth. I made something that's a dress or a shirt, something that I can use and wear. That's where the joy comes from with sewing. The actual process of cutting the fabric, sewing the seams, that doesn't really give me much joy, which is why I don't do that much. But also I find I don't need to. I used to feel a bit guilty, like, why do I have a sewing machine if I don't sew that much? If I only sew, say, 4 garments a year, and those are garments that I really love, then yes, I think it's worth it for me to sew. I don't need to sew several projects a month to say it's worth it. I've been minimizing my wardrobe as well as other things in my house, and I really don't want it to get out of control, so I don't want to add 5 to 10 new pieces a month to my wardrobe. I only want to sew something when I need something. Naturally, my talents in the sewing segment are not very high, and I know that I would get a lot better at it if I did it more, and also that I would be able to sew more complex projects if I and therefore have like more options to choose from when I'm deciding what to sew. But I'm okay with it. So like this past summer I sewed a long skirt, and now just before Christmas I sewed an apron dress, and I absolutely love both of them. And they were a long time in the making, but they were worth it. Yeah. So that's my musings on sewing. Like, knitting is definitely for mental health. I think stitching is as well, but sewing, that's just for the pleasure of, and that's like where it's most concrete, where I get the feeling that I was able to make something useful the most of. That's what comes from sewing. Yeah. Oh dear. I feel like I've rambled on about this quite a long time. Yeah, let me know what you think. What do you have any philosophical musings on your making? Or have you read any interesting articles that I could maybe go and read in the internet about this? I just find it really fascinating, especially when you bring in the biological aspect or the evolutionary aspect of the importance of having made something with your hands. How important that has been to the evolution of people. I just find it really interesting. We're complex beings, aren't we? So thank you so much for keeping me company for this short knitting break. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. That way you'll know when I upload new videos. Giving it a thumbs up will let me know that you enjoyed it. And yeah, happy knitting. See you soon. Bye!